Good morning, everyone. Good morning. There we go. Let's try to say good morning again and bring our energy into this space as we open church. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Perfect. Welcome into this space. Welcome into this time. No matter if you've been here 1,000 times, this is your second time, your first time. By entering this space, you enter into the community of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Chattanooga. I am the Reverend Mandy Goheen. My pronouns are she, her, and it's my honor to serve this congregation. And this is part of my sermon series about that little song we sang when we were a kid. First comes love, second comes marriage, and this is the baby carriage installment of that service. And we're going to talk about the joy of having children and the reasons to do that if one should choose. So thank you for joining me today. In this community, we acknowledge that our land was not always the land that I call ours. It belonged to others. And I'd like to invite people to join me in the land acknowledgement. At UUCC, we acknowledge that our church sits on Cherokee, Muskogee, and Yuchi land. And here's our covenant. Will you join me in saying our covenant? We've been practicing getting to know our covenant so then we can get to know our vision. So a covenant is like that bag sitting right there. You'll learn more about that in a minute. We journey together, bound in the interdependent web of existence. We embrace diversity, own our conflicts, and assume good intentions. When we fail, we begin again in love. Justice and compassion shall be our watchwords, and beloved community our goal. Whoop. In Unitarian Universalist gatherings of all kinds, from dinner tables to church services to gatherings in assembly halls where folks don't use the word church, we light a chalice to symbolize our coming together, our time in space that is sacred because we are here sharing with each other. Charlotte, can you come and help me? Charlotte is our incoming president. Yay. President-elect. I'm sorry, I'll get all the words right one day. President-elect. Please join me in the chalice lighting words. In the light of truth, in the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. And this is a good favorite UU song. We're going to rise in body and or spirit. We're going to sing it through 2 times.
Oh, we all know this.
I know, smiling. So, because this service is about babies and deciding when and how and if to have babies, I have to tell a great story I tell about this song. When my daughter was a baby and I was rocking her, I would sing that song to her. And I sang it for a long time, and usually when I would sing it, it was because I needed to hear it because I was so tired of rocking a baby. And one day, when she began speaking, she looked up at me with the most earnest eyes you've ever seen and said, "Mommy, I've been wondering, who's yet again?" Children are our biggest teachers. And now, speaking of our biggest teachers, I'd like to invite the young and young at heart forward for our story for all ages. It's not what you believe in, but how. Anybody want to come up and help me? I have props. Woo!
Take a chair and come up.
All right, you can come up in a chair because I have props. All right, I see that you're participating. Okay, who knows what this is?
A bag.
Okay, our belief system is secure. We all know that this is a bag. We're not questioning that. Hi, everybody. So today we're talking about babies. And did you know, babies, and did you know that babies don't believe anything? They don't have, did you know that babies didn't believe anything? It makes sense. They aren't born Buddhists or Baptists or believers of any sort, but soon after we arrive in the world, we start to gather ideas. We pick up beliefs and ideas about people and animals and family, and we collect these ideas about stars and comets and how it all started. We accumulate beliefs about good and bad, right and wrong, what's healthy and unhealthy, and what is important. All these beliefs we get from our parents, playmates, TV, and from Sunday school or religious education. And they go in our belief bag. Now, most religions, this religion is a little different. We're going to talk about that a lot today. Most religions tell you what to put in the bag. In Unitarian Universalism, it's more about how you hold the bag and how you use the bag. What is in it can be a mystery. Sometimes things go in it that make sense. Let's see what's in this bag. So, I see. So belief systems might be a little bit like scarves. There's a belief here. Oh, there's a scarf. Okay, all right. And then, these make sense. It almost went on your head. This makes sense. Belief systems are kind of like bandanas. These are kind of like scarves, little pieces of stuff. Yay, those are washed, I promise. More scarves and bandanas. Wait a minute. Does this belong with a spoon? So sometimes when we believe things, we get the wrong things in the bag. So obviously, somebody thought they needed a spoon. In fact, sometimes we get so focused on the bag that we use it to hide what we really believe, which other cats are awesome, or whatever else you want to believe. Some people, this is your belief system, and we can put all this stuff in, and some people hold it really tight, and they don't want to let anything out. And some people use this belief system to beat up people and decide what they should believe. But that's not what Unitarian Universalists do. In fact, the cool thing about our religion is it has prettier bags, and we get to put in the bag what we need. What we need is our own belief system. We have a covenant, and the covenant is like the bag that we hold it in. And what everyone believes is really up to them. And maybe you believe a spoon goes with scarves. I don't know. But as long as we're treating each other kind and not beating each other over the head with bags, we are part of Unitarian Universalism. You want to help me put the scarves back in? Yeah. You want to help me build? Oh, see how building faith can be this easy. We just put this stuff in. You want to put more in? You want to help? Minerva's a great helper. Oh, that's a big scarf. Ooh, lovely. Oh, that's fine. Sometimes our stuff hangs out a little bit.
There's some more over there.
There's some more over here. Sometimes we get it on other people. We got to be careful about that. But our faith is amazing. Unitarian Universalism is the bag. It is the container. And that's what's important, how we use that container to do good in the world. But sometimes we have different things inside, and that's our own decision. So next time somebody asks you what Unitarian Universalism is, don't tell them about this, because that's very confusing. But here, we've been talking about elevator speeches, the grown-ups. Like, what do we say when somebody asks us what Unitarian Universalism is? It's less important what you believe than how you hold your beliefs. It's how you acquire them and how you share them, and above all, what you do with them for love and good, that counts. The end. Can you click to the next? Now we're going to sing our children out to service. Yay! And I haven't pulled a silly stunt in a while, so that was fun. Thank you. Go your way in peace. Wander as you may. Blessed is the path you take. May love guide you on your way. I put my papers in this bag. I kind of need to know what's going on. Not everything should be inside. All right. So this month's social justice moment is brought to us by Christian, who's going to talk about energy. So I'm going to invite you up, and I'm going to give you the clicker because I know you have some slides. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I had the delight to reflect about energy, which is nice for me. I'm coming back to studying energy economics in the 1990s in Austria, visiting here, hearing about TVA, what a cool company in the 1970s, being at the forefront of environmental initiatives, and then what happened afterwards. So talking about energy, what I'm showing you guys here is the TVA power generation in 2023. That includes also some imports that I have that's being generated at rest. 42% nuclear, 31% natural gas, 14% coal, 9% hydro, 4% wind and solar. Why this is kind of an interesting or important point is, so TVA is the largest public utility in this country. As most of you know, public utility means they should be the ones, since it's public, they should be on the forefront. They should be the trailblazers. They should push to that next step. They are also being tasked to decarbonize the US grid following by 2035. That means no more coal plants by 2035. Right now, they're still kind of in the double digits, the coal power plants. This spring, when it was about to retire the Kingston fossil plant, they had two different ways. One was just to bring in another natural gas, one of the latest generation with lower CO2 emissions, or to actually do a solar combined with batteries, because the problem with electricity is always you need it 24 hours a day, and sometimes when it's the hottest time of the day is not the time when you need the electricity, so you need some batteries. And so what did they decide? They decided on natural gas, because, and that was the comment, was by 2027 for that implementation, it's just not enough time that TVA can pull it off. That's what the CEO convinced. He convinced their own board. 6 of those 9 board members actually were voted in during the Biden government. And they're still convinced that the CEO must know best. The point with it that I want to stress here is currently in California, already 20% of electricity comes from batteries. just in comparison how big it is. And then places, even for example, Southwest Power, that runs from Oklahoma to Canada, they have 60 to 70% of the system wind powered. And when they started it in the 2000s, the specialists and said, well, we maybe can do 5 or 10%. So there are 60 or 70%. So it takes some effort, and I think that's kind of in the social justice moment, the point, how we as a constituency, as we kind of express also our thoughts about what TVA and other public utilities should do, how they should actually push much more forward. Coming here to that second page here of the electricity generated, you see here in the middle, South Dakota with 83%, that is all wind powered. The other 3 green ones, Vermont, Washington, and Idaho, thank you. Oh gosh, my geography, I tell you. In the 70%, then you see Tennessee 15, better than the ones around, but we're sitting on the gold mine called Tennessee River, where they built already in the 1930s the hydroelectric power plant. So you see just how far there is still to go for this idea to decarbonize by 2035, which is 11 years from now. Any type of changes of changing power plants of any type of sorts takes multiple years. This is not something what you do overnight, so they would have to do it now. Last thing that I want to do, I don't want to keep you guys for too long. On the next page, please. Yeah, thank you. On the left side, might be a little bit hard to see. You see the energy mix from 1990 versus from 2023. At the far bottom, it's United States. 1980, 1985, 70% of electricity generation was fossil. Now it's 59. The nuclear stayed just about the same. Renewables increased. However, if you compare it, for example, with the world, we are versus the world a little bit better than fossil. But actually, in terms of renewables, we have really kind of fallen kind of quite behind. If you look at some of the other countries, smaller countries above, Norway or Sweden, you could see almost 100%. It is really actually possible to do electricity generation just with renewable energies, despite whatever people tell you. And then you can even see Canada, giant country just like the United States, not very different in its landscapes, where you see 20% fossil fuels, 66% renewables. So, thoughts for today.
So we are practicing a meditation this month that we can take with us. Part of the meditation has a little bit to do with our covenant, which is my favorite part, that we begin again in love. And also, I was talking to somebody who was also Catholic a long time ago, like me, and they're like, I liked that. I liked repeating after you, so that was really fun. So would you help us practice singing the first part, and then I'll do the readings in between?
So the tune is like...
Ready to practice? We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again. For remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again. For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again. For each time that we've struck out in anger without just cause. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again. each time that our greed has bound us to its needs instead of others. For the selfishness which sets us apart and alone. For falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit. For forgetting that we have unity. For those and for so many acts, both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of separateness. So I'm going to light the peace candle for the end of imprisonment and war, the end of fear of violence, the end of genocide, the beginning of love. So this is our stones in water. These are not actual stones, but I like that. These are little glass beads, balls. There are some at the back if you're not comfortable with being. We are recording. I always like to remind people that not everybody's comfortable being in a recording, so there's a space in the back. What I encourage you to do is pick up a stone or two and hold it for a moment. Let it have what is in your heart troubling you. Let it feed by sharing celebrations, this community. As we put the stones in the water, they're cleansed. And the water is used sometimes to water the plants around here and continue that cycle of renewal and refreshment. So also, hugs are optional. They will be over here. And I invite people forward. We tried the middle. Let's try this part again. I know middle is kind of optional when there's... Anyway, we were going to come up this way. Come and put your stones in the cleansing water of this community. And share with those who love and care for you in this hour what is in your heart. So I invite you forward. May all these joys and concerns be held and blessed. May you receive what you need this week, knowing that this is always a place you can come to and find someone to care for you and talk to you. And know that in this place, when we care and talk to each other, there's space for openness and disagreement sometimes, but there's mostly space for love. May it be so, and blessed be.
So the special music for today is kind of in that spirit of today's service. It's not just about living or that you live, but how you live. And so Bob Dylan wrote this wonderful song that I'm sure heard of you, Forever Young, that has been translated in many languages. So I grew up with it in German, but I'm going to sing it in English. May God bless you and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. May you stay forever young, forever young, forever young. May you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the light surrounding you. May you always be courageous, standing upright and be strong. May you stay forever young. Forever young, forever young. May you stay forever young. May your hands always be busy. May your feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of changes shift. May your heart always be joyful. May your song always be sung. May you stay forever young. Forever young. Feel free to join in. Forever young, forever young. May you stay forever young.
There are no instructions or manuals for this one either. Like partnership and joining in marriage, which is a pretty big feat amongst itself, there is no instruction book either for babies. And in our religion, Unitarian Universalism, we are not one to do anything but support your decision and your journey and your ideas of what childhood and having children is like, including choosing not to have children, which is an admirable thing. You see, the birth rate in the United States was dropping before COVID, and I bet you're not surprised. There's been a little bump. People had COVID babies who are glorious, and some attend this very space. But we had been working on, as a population, reducing the birth rate. We are having healthier children. We are having children at older ages. People tend to be in their 30s. Whew, scandalous. When I was growing up, the closest I ever got to any instruction about having a baby was to carry an egg around for a week. Did anybody carry an egg around? Classes after me got these terrifying fake babies that cried, but I carried an egg, and I had an egg, I'm sure I named it, and I put it in a toilet paper roll, and we would get docked points if your parents caught you without the egg or without getting a babysitter for the egg. And if you dropped the egg, well, tragedy ensued. But I can't say that that prepared me to be a parent in any kind of way whatsoever. In fact, no advice anyone has given me, although often correct, has helped me be a parent in any way whatsoever. Being a parent didn't seem like it was in the stars in the relationship that I was in. I had an ectopic pregnancy when we'd been married only a few months. And because I hadn't used protection during sex, and I'm really honest and open about this, my body doesn't have the ability to have babies. And for a long time, as people who deal with infertility do, I judged myself harshly for that. I blamed myself for not being good enough, not deserving. There was something wrong with me. I also was working in early intervention, kind of like a Head Start program in rural West Virginia, and we would go in vans and go out into the hollers and pick babies up, bring them in, feed them, have preschool, some parenting classes if we could drag the parents in, and send them home with diapers and what they needed. In fact, part of the services at Youth Health Service was birth control. 3 cheers for birth control. Women in that culture don't understand that it's a choice, and sometimes when you're in a culture where your needs are not quite met, having sex and babies isn't really connected for some reason. Although that result often happens. When I was growing up in the Catholic Church, birth control was frowned upon. Abortion was a sin. Birth control was a sin. And sex was a sin. And it was very confusing. But you could get married and you could turn into one person with this other person, and then you were allowed to have a baby, which I'm not really sure qualified you either. Somehow your worth was weighed in my religion of my youth by how many babies, in fact, you had. Irish Catholic, you've seen us out there. Once I moved into a journey of adoption with my husband, we made a very specific decision. I am not a fan of medicine. I love doctors, they're great people, but I don't like going to the hospital unnecessarily. And quite frankly, we didn't have the socioeconomic status to afford any kind of fertility. And remember, I was going up these hollers and picking up these kids, and I would rock the kids and think, I wonder if I could be a good mom to this child, more than just this hour that I get to feed them and play with them and nurture them. I wonder what kind of parent I will be. So when it came time that I could no longer tolerate not having a kid for whatever reason, makes people do that I haven't figured out. Anyway, we decided to do it an even harder way and adopt through the foster care system because, I've never done anything the easy way, but I continued to carry, I hear y'all, but I continued to carry this "you don't deserve a baby" trope in my brain. You're not worthy of this. And saying it out loud, it sounds so preposterous, I can't hardly stand it. But those things we tell us in our own heads sometimes don't make sense anyway. And so we started doing foster care, and we adopted 2 kids, and they turned 10, and then we really lost our minds and decided we wanted more. Now, I don't know, a few of you have filled out the paperwork and gone through the home study and done all the things and been inspected by social workers and followed and filled out forms and gone to parent. Being a foster parent might not be the same as parenting. It's a little different. In fact, it was a big struggle for us because we were in the state of Utah, and in the state of Utah, unless you fostered a child, you didn't get to adopt them. The state had been sued, which I think might be a good idea around here. The state had been sued because kids were getting stuck in foster care for so long. Babies were being adopted at 8 and moving all over the place. So they had to get a handle on it. And so when we came to them and said, we were in New Mexico and we adopted 2 kids and this is how it went, and they're like, that's really nice. You can be a foster parent here, and if the kid doesn't reunify with their parent, then you can adopt them. Well, after 13 months, we still hadn't adopted the 2 children that had been in our house, and we said goodbye to them, and they reunified with their parents. And I said, I have a little bit of a snarky habit, and when the social worker asked me, do you, who's next? Are you ready for another kid? And I was like, really? Really? After a year? No, I'm not, unless you have a brand new baby that I can adopt and bring home from the hospital. Some people have heard this story. This is where my husband seems super cute. He was in the military at that point and off every other Friday. The social worker called him and said, there's a baby girl at the hospital you can come pick up. Come on over. I was taking an exam. And so he texted me, and this is 16 years ago, and I'm it's thumb texting at that point, right? On little phones, and you have to hold it. So he thumb texted me, baby girl hospital. And I said, okay, taking a test, which took me 7 hours to text. And all he saw was the word okay. And he took from me the most coveted thing I'd always wanted from a baby, was buying their gear. That man went to Babies R Us, bought bottles and onesies and car seats with my mother sobbing on the phone. All I said was okay, y'all. I didn't say yes. I said okay. That's all he heard. When my test was over, I got another phone call. I was like, okay, tell me about this kid, He's like, I'm at the hospital. And I was like, you're what? I'm at the hospital. They have a brand new baby for us. And I was like, hold on. Don't we need this stuff? No, your mom and I already took care of that. Great. It was cute. It was very Three Stooges from that moment on. I had a minivan, and we didn't put the car seat in that because that would have made perfect sense. We put the car seat into the trashy back seat of my husband's car and put this beautiful baby in it for him to take home. And I went to take another test, which I failed. Right? Of course I did. Of course, I didn't know about babies. I didn't know that they were teachers. I didn't know they didn't sleep. They're so cute. She slept through the night when she was 10. I didn't know this. I didn't know everything was my responsibility. I knew she'd throw up on me. I'd had other younger children, but I'd never had a baby younger than 15 months old. So, we have this baby, and this baby is not just a child, it is all of a sudden, I got a baby. And remember, I was carrying a really big chip on my shoulder about what I deserved. And in that moment, I learned something about that baby. I learned that she was here to teach me unconditional love. I learned that was the first moment I laid eyes on her. She's 16, and she's not here, thank goodness, but I still sneak into her room to look at her feet at night because she sleeps with her feet crossed in this little particular way. She still just makes me smile to see her. She wasn't the last kid we'd have. Those other two I mentioned came back with another baby 6 months later. Right? Oh my gosh, be careful what you ask for. I don't deserve a baby. Oh, really? You deserve two the same age at the same time. Have fun. 13-month-olds on both of my hips who didn't particularly care for each other. Not the cute little twins that grow up and have little... No, these were mortal enemies on both hips. One baby cried all the time, one baby never cried. Babies are not the same. They are not predictable creatures. But what they are is they are deep, thoughtful teachers. They teach us what's inside. They teach us to love. Have you ever looked at a baby? There's a baby about the right age. Oh, she's busy. And raised your eyebrow really high and just watched them raise their eyebrow really high, or smile and then they smile. The other thing is they're completely dependent on you. They have all kinds of stuff, the gear, and then if they didn't already need enough stuff, people give you all their stuff too. So we have a kid now who has been waited for. We've had older boys. It's a girl in the family, first daughter, grandchild. And she had a dress for every day she was alive and would only wear a Dora the Explorer dress. You know that kid. She had everything she needed, and she loved crayons and cardboard boxes. She didn't like any of the other stuff. One time when she was about 3 on the bottom bunk with her sister on the top, she'd drawn a whole scene on the wall with crayon, and it said her name backwards 16 times everywhere. And there were hearts all over the place. And I walked in, and I don't know, it must have happened fast, or I wasn't paying attention. And I walked in, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Well, I had to look at something." She is my child. She is the queen of one-liners, always has been, always has cussed eloquently since a tiny child. She loves her dad unconditionally. She could take me or leave me most days. She is delightful. And her purpose in the world was really to be a teacher. I didn't understand babies as teachers until I started seminary. And I was telling some story about braiding hair and my fingers cramping because I'm not used to that. And I'm not used to like holding a baby. Have you ever held, I know some of you, one of you in here has done this, held a baby like this with your leg and tried to braid their hair? Very challenging. Very, very challenging. You have to have the right kind of movie on, all the things, but it is an expression of love. But it is a challenge. Here's what I think that too few of us say out loud, but most of us know, is that when we're talking to people and they're like, oh, we're trying to have a baby, we're trying to adopt, I have a response that surprises me, which is, why? Really? Really? And I also have a response that interests me in, like, so we're Catholic and we're supposed to have a lot of kids, and then we weren't anymore and adopted, and here we still have the big van with all the kids. Children are a blessing, and they are a choice, and there is no good time to have a child, and there is no bad time to have a child. Children don't need the gear. They need the love. They need the reflection back of how precious they are. She taught me love because I looked at her lovingly and adoringly. Babies need held and nurtured. And that's what our faith tells us, to treat them like humans, not objectify them or romanticize them, but respect them for who they are and the great work they do. And one of the great things that babies do is they let you hold them and they slobber on you and you forget about other stuff because they're really cute. And then, if they belong to someone else, you give them back. And that's really cute too. There's nothing predictable or cheap about a child. However, standing here before you today, I slept in a box when I was a baby. I slept in a banana box. My granny was excited because she found the coolest box at the store, and it had wooden sides, and she created a little bassinet for me. I also had a car seat that I could see better out the front window with no seat belts on. So we've come a long way as far as baby gear goes. My mom will still do this to me. Remember this? This was the no seat belt, keep the baby flying out the front window. It's amazing. We lived through playpens with bars this wide. You know, we've lived through a lot, and we've done a lot for babies. But here's what I think is most important about Unitarian Universalism and children, is they're not a possession. They're not a belonging, and if anything, we belong to them. They're not necessary. They will not fix a marriage, I promise. They will not. And I think that probably being pregnant might be the worst reason to get married, but there is pressure on people. The peanut gallery over here agrees with me. But because of that sheltering of women in religion, oftentimes they find themselves pregnant in a context where being married is the only way. Next. Far away, like we're getting away from the adoption, white baby, designer babies. Like there's not around anymore. We don't have big orphanages. We don't have access to just adopt kids the way we used to, albeit it was always expensive. I want to close by teaching you some things never to say to somebody who has adopted kids, because this has really been helpful for me in my life. Because people have asked me the most egregious questions, nobody in this room, trust me, but I've been asked, wouldn't you like to have your own children? Do they all have the same dad? Yes, they do. He's standing right here. How much did she cost?
On sale.
Why didn't you do fertility treatment? No, really. Like, people ask stuff like that. Have you seen how much that costs? First of all. Second of all, I don't like doctors, so there we go. We skipped that. So there are many, many children who need our help today, who need fostered. I'm done, though, okay? I just want to promote it. I don't want another one. You'd think I'd be excited about grandkids, but I keep just, like, filling the fruit bowl full of condoms and trying to push that back out of the way. You get two things when you turn 13 in our house. You get a cell phone and some birth control. It's not that I don't love babies and I don't want children. I just become exhausted by the suffering. And not every baby has the same opportunity as the babies that grew up in my house. And they were just 1 foot out of it. Nobody gives us a good book unless we weren't all nurtured by great parents, let's just admit it. And so there isn't even that to fall back on sometimes. Sometimes we're parenting in a way that is opposite of how they were. And sometimes that's wrong too, because I've tried that. But the point is, if you really need a good, solid teacher in your life, if you really want to do some meditation on selflessness and yuckiness and challenge, the best person for that job will always be a baby. And if you don't say, this is a terrible joke, but we got to end with it. If you wouldn't say it about someone's boob job, this is the thing I learned, don't say it about someone's adopted kid. Oh, yeah, we're getting the joke, yeah. Are those yours? Yeah, no. No. Babies are joyful, we need them around us, but let's take great care to support those who have them. And remember that, you know, it only takes a second of holding them to erase all the messes we clean up. So be careful who you hold. May it be so, and blessed be. Look at that. Oh, so cute. So our offering is a way of sharing with this community, sharing our gifts that we have, our generosity. And I just want to say, as we talked about children today and babies, we have a great need. If you know anybody who would like a job in our nursery on Sunday morning, we are struggling to keep nursery workers right now. You have to be 18 and get a background check, so hit us up. Also, I just want to say that our new vision is very, very directly connected to young childhood in Chattanooga, so we really need support, funding, and taking care of that vision so that someday, fingers crossed, we might have a daycare here. And if we have a daycare here, do you know what would be so awesome? Is for people to not be judged by what their family's like or how it came together to be in a space where they receive daycare. I think it would be an awesome social justice thing. Plus, I get to see more babies all the time and not take them home. So if you are interested in projects of our vision like that and other cool things around here, please give generously. Your offering will be gratefully received. Do you know the words? Alouette, gentille alouette, alouette, join me in the offertory response. We give these gifts freely, committed to our mission to care, create beloved community, awaken hearts and minds, resist injustice and act with compassion, embrace life and care for the earth. To this work we dedicate our offerings. Please rise in body and or spirit and join us in our closing hymn. Uh-oh. You got your glasses. Yes. Please be seated. Don't let them fool you. They're so cute. And they got the coolest clothes and the coolest stuff. But don't let them fool you. And if you have a good first baby, that's a trick as well. Because I had a first good baby, and it was a trick. Do what you can to support those around you who are parenting in times such as these. Make this a welcoming space regardless of the context or construct of the family, that if people are pursuing having babies, that we support and love them. Cast not judgment on women who don't have or want babies. It is our body and it is our choice. Can you say that with me? It is our body and our choice. It is not the measurement of our worth. May that be so. That's so what. Please join me in the chalice extinguishing words. I got wax on everything, so good luck. It might be even stuck in there. Yeah. We extinguish this flame. Warmth of unity. These we carry in our hearts and share with all the world. Thank you. Yeah, I tried to be. Yeah, if you can. Yeah, thanks. I tried to be sneaky, and I knew I was in the weeds when this happened, and I was like, oh, and it like shrunk around it. This is why we don't have candles anymore, and I'm still making this one hard. So there we go. It is time for announcements. I have an exciting announcement I want to make. Starting on the first Sunday in August, the Ministers' Council of Youngers will begin. If you have a human who is grades 5th through 9th who would like to help out with worship, we're going to do work around the church. We're going to go on our first meeting. We're going to go down and pick up the trash along the road, and then we're going to have pizza, and then we're going to plan the service that is upcoming, that is the multi-gen. If you know anyone in that age group who would like to join, we have 3 yeses so far about that group. I'm excited to have the youth having some input into curriculums and religious education and activities around the church. Part of the process will be teaching them about how the church works and how actually there isn't a big age limit on membership anymore. So what my hope is, by the time they get out in 9th grade high schoolers, they'll be members of the church. So that's kind of the plan. I'm pretty excited about that. So that's my big exciting announcement. Who else has an announcement, exciting or otherwise? Yay! See, I made it exciting. I know. Oh, it's up here. Oh, you found one? Okay.
Testing. On? You hear me? Yep. Okay. I didn't plan to make this announcement actually, but following up on Christian's social justice moment, it occurred to me that I should tell you that on Tuesday I am traveling up to Knoxville for a Tennessee Valley Authority meeting. Well, they will be considering, hearing our input about their integrated resource plan. And that is the plan that TVA makes decisions about how they will do their energy piece in the future. And right now there's too much natural gas in their future, and there's too much nuclear, and we need more batteries. So I'm going to make some remarks, as are others, and you're welcome to give me your remarks today if you have anything you'd like me to say to them.
Thank you.
Layla Rose, she, her, and also the music director. So we are starting a new church year, and I'm excited because I am kind of reviewing how choir went, how the music went for the year, and pulling in some new things, picking new choir music. I have a whole Excel spreadsheet, and basically if you want to participate in music in any way, please let me know. Music is a really important part of community and of the service, and you can email me at music@uucc.org. Specifically for people who would like to join choir, we have taken the month of July off as our vacation month, so little break from meeting at 9:15 a.m. However, starting on August 4th, we will begin again in love. And
Good idea.
and have our first choir practice of the new church year at 9:15 a.m. We're going to be kind of introducing some new things in choir, some little bit of musical education. I might do some auditions. Like my goal is to get us, the UUC choir, to the next level. So if you're interested in that, let me know. If you want to do special music, there's all kinds of things at any
Next level, but any level is welcome at the same time.
So yeah, let me maybe explain that a little bit. Any level is welcome. We will get you there. Does that make sense? Okay. Please come. Please don't come because you don't think you can sing, because you can. So anyway, email me, talk to me, let me know if you want to if you can play something on the piano and that's your thing. We have opportunities to play instruments up here.
So did we find anybody for the breakup service to play Rocky Raccoon yet?
It's on my list. I have it on my
Okay.
Excel spreadsheet, so never fear, I have not forgotten.
Okay, but if I just was letting people hear that in a few weeks is going to be the next and last installment, which is breaking up in this sermon series for summer, and I'd love some people to help me sing Rocky Raccoon from the Beatles, because that's my favorite breakup song.
Okay, so there you go. If you've been wanting to have an opportunity, there's your first opportunity.
Any other announcements? Yes, babies.
Hello, I am Sally Peixoto, pronouns she, her. I am on the, thank you, isn't she cute? And you can give her back when you're done.
But I don't want to yet. Oh,
So,
we're the
I am on the Religious Education Committee, and you'll notice in your order of service and up here, this Saturday is our RE retreat. Yay! Mostly that means we are asking everybody what we are looking for our religious education program this year. We want to hear from you. If you have kids, we want to hear from you. If you think you might have kids, we want to hear from you. If you absolutely don't, but you just, care about the community, we want to hear from you. This Saturday, 10 o'clock, it's going to be awesome. Feel free to also talk to me with any questions or concerns, or Wendy or Gray. Thanks.
What a lovely announcement, and I love the slobber on your shoulders. Fashion. Is that it? Woo, a little bit almost on time. Okay, our service has ended. May our service to the world begin.
Okay.